okay, for me personally, don't patronise. Just explain it in a way that you would explain it to, what's the word I'm looking for? Somebody that isn't a healthcare professional, basically. But doesn't mean you shouldn't speak to us like we're not equals and stuff like that. Because I don't know for other people, but I can tell when somebody's speaking downward to me because they change the tone of their voice. Talk to me as if you would talk to your friend. Build a rapport with me. And then lay it out to me straight. Don't go all in at first. Just ask me about my life. Even though we both know why we're there, but, you know, build up to the whole, you know, healthcare professional jibber jabber.
Make them feel comfortable. Don't make them feel any different from anyone else. And make them feel like they're safe.
When supporting adolescents living with HIV, effective communication is critical. You need to create an environment where they feel safe, where they feel trusted, where they feel listened to, and where they feel they are able to share with you sensitive and personal information. What adolescents living with HIV have told me in the many years that I've worked with them is that communication is incredibly important, and that communication is that they need to feel that they're listened to. When they walk through the door, they want you to see them and not see HIV.
Communication is incredibly important when working with adolescents. Most of the time they don't want to be there. They don't want to be at a healthcare facility. They'd rather be out with their mates. You need to engage them and be interested in them as a person. An adolescent is really quick to judge. You've only got the first 20 seconds to get it right. So if your style of communication is rather abrasive, slightly confrontational, they will make a judgment very quickly. Whereas if you have a much more open method of communication, keeping your own personal views very much in the background and listening to a young person, they're much more likely to engage. Hi Zach, very nice to meet you. I'm Caroline Foster, I'm one of the doctors in the clinic. It's great that you're here today, but could you tell me a little bit about how you found out about the clinic and came to be referred here?
Yeah, it's been word of mouth from friends I've known in the past saying that this clinic is one of the top clinics and will help with the needs I need.
And can you tell me a little bit about what you're doing? Are you at college or are you looking for a job or in work? I think the most effective way of that initial communication with an adolescent you've never met is introducing yourself, asking them what they like to be called. It's often not the name that's written on the case notes. Asking them what they're doing. So for the first 20 seconds, no conversations about health or medication.
I think the most important thing is that young people feel that they're being listened to. And creating a space in the room where young people feel able to talk. And that just doesn't happen on the first visit. So if you're wanting to develop a relationship with a young person, continuity of care is incredibly important. And setting the scene for young people so that they know what they can talk about. So being really clear from the onset what confidentiality means and what they're able to talk to you about. Guiding young people is obviously really important as well. And doing it in an effective way where you're not telling somebody what to do, because nobody wants to be told what to do. As adults, we don't want to be told what to do. So I think what also helps me is respecting young people. How would you talk to an adult?
Let's consider what adolescence is. It's the transition from childhood to adulthood. And during that time, an adolescent becomes more independent and they need to make decisions and they need to have choices. It's really, really important that you keep your own religious or cultural beliefs or what you think is right and wrong at the door when you come in the room.
So when I talk about communication, the very basics that we need to be skilled in is open questions, reflections, affirmations and summaries, just to check in that you're on the right track and you're really showing that young person that you're listening to what they have to say. You can learn through supervision, you can learn through talking to colleagues, but often the best way to know whether you're getting it right is to ask the young person directly themselves. They won't be used to that, but it's something that you need to establish early on if you are going to facilitate open and honest dialogues. You need to be open and honest yourself.
So let's consider that child's world. If they're very lucky, they will go to clinic and people will talk to them open and honestly about HIV and give them information. But that won't be the case for every single child. They often live in families where there are other family members, whether it's siblings or their mother's new partner, who don't know that that child is living with HIV. Schools don't know, peer groups don't know.
Why are they struggling to change their behaviour? How important is it for them to stay healthy? How do they feel about the medications? What relationship do they have with them? What do they mean for them? Particularly if they're not accessing peer support, when they come to the clinic, this is the only time that they get the opportunity to explore these things. When they leave the clinic, they often avoid it, there's nobody that they can talk to. None of them want to be unwell, none of them want to be in hospital, none of them want to almost transmit the virus to other people, but they may not have the confidence and self-efficacy to be able to do that. So how do we get them to look at themselves and explore that and support them to be able to do it? And again, you know, motivational interviewing is a fabulous communication style that helps a practitioner to take a step back and for the young person to do the talking.
It's very hard when you haven't been in care to suddenly come to a clinic, because I think the perception is that you're going to get told off because you haven't been taking your meds, but actually it's great to see you, and it allows us time to move forward and to look at your health and to look at what antiretrovirals would be best for you and how we're going to manage that now you're a little bit older and engaged in care again. I think that's fantastic.
Create an environment which is safe for them, where they can ask questions, where they can trust you. And think about equity. Treat them as your equal. Don't talk down to them. It's important that you are interested in them. Ask them questions about themselves. What football team do they support? What's their favourite music? Don't see the HIV, see the adolescent.
I think doctors should talk to young people in clinics in a way that they understand each other, whereas the young person understands what the doctor's saying, so they're not speaking like the doctor language where they can't understand. And it's the doctor's purpose is to be there for the young person, not to just give medical information out to them. They should be able to listen to them, respect their thoughts and opinions.
I think when a doctor speaks to a young person about HIV, they should speak to them on the same level, as in not try to possibly, maybe, I won't say patronise, but at the same time I think a doctor shouldn't throw technical terms and scientific terms. They should really try and find a way to make it more understandable to the young person so that they understand it thoroughly as well, because that's the main objective. And as well, just to make sure that the child fully understands it as well, they should really try and clearly put their point across that child, and make at the end make sure they completely understand it, and ask if they have any questions and assure them that they're always there if they do need them as well.